Because he's here.
Big kids table now, John. No backing out.
Maybe he has a couple hearings.
Yes, so this is good for him to hear. All righty, so we're going to, with the board voted at our last meeting to start our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. So let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. If people don't mind, I see we have a visitor, right, from soccer.
Yes.
And it's very warm here. I'm going to move our soccer rec speaker to the beginning of the meeting so that he doesn't have to sit through a very long meeting today.
Thank you.
So if you'd like to stand and come to the microphone, introduce yourself, tell us about your proposal, that would be wonderful.
Hello, my name is Paul Caravan. I am the Strafford Recreational Sports Soccer Coordinator. I'm here to propose having basically a regular recreational soccer season with some protocols in place to start in the fall. I sent an email out with some attachments for your review and hopefully acceptance to move on with it. Any questions or thoughts? Oh, well, the program is K through 6, pre-K through 6, and we meet a few days a week with practices. We play 5 other surrounding towns, Concord, Chichester, Epsom, Northwood, and Pittsfield. They are all moving onward with their program. And it's a great way for the kids to get some exercise and activity, affordable and local.
Okay, I know last year we did not approve the soccer program, so I think right now we have our sports, our school sports, the kids are playing, so I don't know if anybody would like to make a motion or has any questions.
Is what you proposed in there for the health guidelines, is that the norm of what's going on there right now? Or did you just come up with that?
It seems to be the norm. I'm playing or coaching lacrosse right now, and that's what I'm seeing out there. The guidelines have really been starting to be whittled down.
I feel like come September, they might even be more relaxed than what you have on there.
That would be great.
I would not want to lock you in to what is on there right now. I don't know how anybody else feels about that.
Yeah, I think we all.
I think flexible either way. I agree with you. I suspect it is not going to be an issue by September,
Yeah.
but if something happened and guidance went the other way, I would expect that we would go either way.
So I would stay flexible on the protocols and go with
Current or whatever, yeah.
stay current, yeah, and go with what the CDC and the state of New Hampshire is guiding us to do.
Okay, anybody like to make a motion?
I move that we accept the plan for soccer in the fall with the Strafford recreational soccer's written guidelines as guidelines at this point, understanding that they can be flexible in the future.
Second.
Okay, discussion? I'm happy to see the kids play again.
Thank you for putting it together. I know we put you through the ringer last year.
So, okay, anybody else? Okay, Carrie?
Yes.
Erica?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Liz? Yes. And Debbie? Yes, it's unanimous.
Great,
Have
thank you
fun.
very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very
Team
much
effort.
for what you're doing for the kids. It's great.
Thank
Yeah. All righty. So next, we have the approval of the 5/26/21 public and non-public meeting minutes.
I move that we accept the minutes from the May 26th public and non-public meeting.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
I had line 114. I did say that, but was that part of when I was talking about graduation too, or is that a different thing?
I do think, it seemed as though, there was some problems with Amelia hearing us around the mass discussion. I actually went back to listen to it because I had to, sort of summarize what we discussed so that, Monica could send it out to the families, because we were still getting notice that the kids asking us, are the kids going to, or do people have to wear masks for graduation?
Right.
We were still getting emails about it. So apparently, there was supposed to be some notification the day after our meeting. It never actually went out. So because of the emails that we were receiving, I went back, I watched the tape again. It was a little hard to hear, but I mean, I was able to hear it somewhat and summarize. So there is a, I don't know, Emily, did you watch the video or were you listening?
I watched it,
You watched the video?
but I mean, if you were present and then you watch it, you kind of have an understanding what happened. I wasn't present, so if I watched it secondhand and I'm like, what the heck?
Okay. So I don't know what to do about
Was
It's fine, it's
was
fine.
this-
It just didn't go.
Was this the portion where we discussed everything that came to be in an email?
Yes.
Because maybe we could just word it so that a lengthy discussion about masking took place, and then maybe that email that went out could be included and say, this is what was agreed upon. Because that at least records everything that we all talked about. And
Yeah, and I know the motion was definitely about graduation, because that was the only motion we made. The rest was a consensus, because we asked Monica, do we need to make motion? She said, no, I see what you're saying, I know what you're doing, and she was taking notes.
So at that point in time, most graduations, people still wore masks. So I think that's what
Your comment was?
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't.
So the motion was, I don't know who made the motion, I'd have to go back and listen, but the motion was that we were approving that masks would be optional for the
Correct.
graduation, and it was
As
unanimous.
long as families were sitting in pods and socially distanced.
Yes, you're correct. So, Amelia, do you have that one? Do you know who made the motion? I don't know if you can see who's actually talking for the motion.
I'm not gonna say I didn't.
I think
I think it was there.
I feel like it was, because the way you just said
Okay,
the word pause.
all right, I'll own it.
Right,
I made the motion.
and I don't know who seconded it.
Somebody must have.
It's usually Eric, you guys go in pairs. usually.
Okay,
The last, like, 10
so
minutes.
maybe Eric seconded it, if you want to check the thing, and it was unanimous. I can send you, Amelia, the summary, and maybe if you listen to the tape again, you could take that summary and it would help you.
Kind of work it in?
Yeah, because I think you'll be able to hear things better.
Okay.
All right, there is another problem we have, and it was on line 88. And even before that, it never tells us which company that Kerry actually recommended. And so that's one of them. And then after that, we made a very detailed motion about where the money was going to come from because of the capital reserve account. Do you remember that, Erica? I think you made the motion because we had just listened to the auditors tell us, the auditor brought that up about the last motion, the last time that a motion was not made about removing money from the capital reserve. And we discussed that we were removing the down payment, I believe it was, for the roof project. Does anybody clarify? Anybody remember?
There was, I don't remember the details, but there was definitely extensive discussion about that.
So I don't know, Amelia, if you can listen to that more, because the problem is, unless we make the motion again, Glenn contacted John today and said, I can't take the money out of the capital reserve to pay for this because there's no motion recorded, because that's what we got in trouble for the last
So
So
it
it's
time.
make
sounds
a
like we
motion
really
again
should
because it's not-
re-motion tonight, because even if Amelia went home tonight
Yeah,
He's gonna need
and
it
got it
tomorrow.
out,
okay.
we won't have voted to accept the changes unless we preemptively agree to whatever she writes.
Okay, so what company did you recommend? I don't even remember.
Another guy.
Weather guard, okay, so we do know that Carrie recommended weather guard.
And you were right, I probably, Amelia, just said, I agree with what, I moved to do what Carrie just proposed. I probably did not repeat the name, so I'll be more aware.
So, and it was the amount, it was the down payment was coming out of the capital reserve. So we knew at least the first half
Right away.
was coming out of the capital reserve.
Because we might be able to use ESSER for the second half, and that's not available. There was a reason we were doing it in that order.
Well, it was because the town, when they approved that warrant article for the roof, they said, take half of the money from the capital reserve and the other half.
Because we can't access next year's budget till July 1st, that's why.
Right, and
So
they
that
said
was part of the
other half
I think that was part of the
would
motion.
come out of the funds raised, because they approved, what did they approve?
Yeah.
50%?
It was about,
50,000 or 70?
it was somewhere 76,
But
and
that's gonna go down to 55.
Okay.
half of that, half of 109.2 is 54.6.
Okay,
So
so
I think
when,
I said 55, I think I rounded.
Plus or minus a couple thousand.
I thought it was the down payment was coming out, I don't think it was the amount. I
Okay.
thought it was the down payment.
Well, to get it started and to get the materials on place, what we
Right.
have,
Oh, it is half,
it's right there.
So we have an invoice that we received for $43,600.
okay.
So if that, I believe that's what will do it for us before July 1st.
Okay, so, let's, when we come out of finishing the
Minutes,
minutes,
I'll re-motion.
let's make a motion to cover the initial invoice amount for the roof by Weather Guard, the recommended company. Okay, all right, and that will come out of our capital reserve account. All right.
Good.
All righty, I'm just looking to see if there was anything else. Did anybody else see anything? There was more discussion about the audit, and I feel badly that Amelia couldn't hear because there were so many good things that the auditor said, but I do think our governor's letter that we were discussing in detail, and it was in our packet, should be scanned into the minutes. So I'm going to send that to you, because that's what we were discussing. You remember that? All the things that we need to work on, the different policies and everything? Okay, so Amelia needs the governance letter. Okay. Anything else? I'm gonna send Amelia the summary and the governance letter. Everything else was okay? Okay. Alrighty, so, Carrie?
Yes.
Okay, Erica?
Yes.
Eric?
yes,
And Liz? Yes. Alrighty, so as we discussed, there was a motion made last week regarding the bid for the roof, and we did award the bid to Weather Guard, and we did make a motion to have the first installment taken out of our capital reserve, but that motion was not recorded, and before Glenn can actually transfer the funds, we need to have a recorded motion. So do I have a motion?
I move that for the roofing project, we take $43,600 to pay Weather Guard the down payment of the roofing project out of the capital reserve fund.
That's it.
Discussion. We won't be getting any other invoices before then?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Use for the materials. I don't know, I don't recall if the district has more than one capital reserve fund, but Glenn was very consistent and specific about where it's coming
From
from.
the building capital reserve
Yeah,
fund.
that'd be-
Okay, perfect. Okay, so, and we don't think that we should, in case we get a second invoice, take any other additional funds, we're just gonna cover that out of what the warrant article was approved for?
Well, it certainly wouldn't hurt if it was there, in case something did come forward. I think this is going to be it, but why not do it from this point?
Okay.
Get the full amount.
So
Well, it
we'll
was
make-
supposed to be half, I think, they said half, that's why I just, half would really be 55.
All right, so I amend my motion for us to take $55,000 out of the building capital reserve fund for the roofing project that will be performed by Weather Guard Company.
All right, any further discussion? All righty, okay, Carrie,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes,
Liz,
Yes.
and Debbie, yes. Okay, wonderful.
Can we get that on there?
I don't know how soon they plan to do it, as you know, the materials are here.
But I mean, we can,
The thing?
yeah.
Yeah, he says he needs to see this in the minutes before he can okay, and that's all we need.
All righty, we will have a non-public, but we'll do it at the end of the meeting. I don't know if you recall, we did ask, Glenn if he would come to this meeting instead of our last meeting, and we thought he would, but, it ended up that he had, some personal plans for tonight, so he wasn't able to attend. And, I also asked for an updated, financial report in our surplus, because there were some purchases that people are bringing forward for us to do end of the year purchases, but, he was out of the office for a death in the family, and he wasn't able to get that for us, so that's gonna impact when we talk about later on. I just wanted to let you know when I see business administrator. Okay, next is the student services report, and Ms. Nate.
Okay, so my student services report is on page 8. It tells you a little bit about what we've been doing at the SAU, looking at some McKinney Pinto training, early McKinney Pinto training, working on making sure that we keep in mind all of the needs that you have for your behavior consultants as you plan for next year, looking at how many days or hours will be required. I do plan on meeting with your incoming student service director on the 21st of June to talk about some plans. One of the things that I wanted to talk to the board about is, as I've mentioned it multiple times, you have the need for behavior consultants. You have what would be an estimate from Constellations for approximately $62,000, and that will cover 2 days a week. Now, I don't know if you want to wait and allow your incoming director to make that choice of who she's going to use or who she thinks is appropriate after I speak with her. You do have some flexibility and some time in that. You don't have to make the decision with them right away. However, I will tell you, the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be to secure it. They are not one of the agencies that ask for a contract early. They'll ask for it soon, but not right now. The other thing that you have to keep in mind is that since it does come out of IDA, you do require an RFP. Okay, I have already drafted an RFP. I'm more than willing to share it with your incoming director so that she doesn't have to, try to get all that squared away. But one of the things that we discussed is you did not want me to write any activities in the IDA grant that were not in the year that I was overseeing. So I've not written those activities in. So I've also not put the RFP in because it's just one of those things that I don't know if you want to wait until I meet with your incoming director.
What do people feel about that? I mean, that's only going to be in another week and a half to let Melissa sort of be in on the decision if she feels there's a program she'd rather choose.
I think that's fine. I don't know that there's really another ballgame in the area that.
There are others. Some of them are a little more expensive. Some of them are further away. I don't know because of where she's at or where she was, if she already has a relationship with some of these agencies that they may be willing to drive the extra distance to come and support it if it's what she likes. I can put it in, but I don't want to tie her down to something that she thinks she can do better or differently.
How long is the RFP open?
The RFP can be open. It just has to follow your normal RFP process, so a week.
So if you put the RFP in, it's not for a specific company, it's for whoever wants to put in.
BCBA services.
Okay.
So could we leave it open for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So if you could post it tomorrow, you're meeting with her on the 21st, she gets to make the decision, but the ball is already rolling?
I can't post it tomorrow, but I can get it squared away so it can be posted on Tuesday.
That's perfect.
I don't post, I can get it squared away, so I just want to run it through Glenn as a final eye. I've written it, but I want to go through that one.
But then she could make a decision, but the ball is already rolling, and we're not waiting for her to say on the 22nd, post it, and we're.
Right, I think it's a good idea, and I don't know if you want to, in the meantime, just email her, let her know you're doing that, and just say, I know that sometimes people reach out to companies and ask them to bid, and you know, like you said, if she has some place that's not particularly local, but it's some.
I talked to her about it already.
Okay, all right.
I did. We have probably a 3-hour meeting scheduled for, the 21st, at least 2 hours to go through. The things that I've already listed are, specific student concerns, CDNA concerns, your all ed concerns, any of your Medicaid to schools concerns. So going right down the list of all the things that she needs to know right as she walks in, as well as I'm going to review all the grants that are currently written, so she knows where to manage them through and where they're at, just so she has an idea, so she's not coming in and trying to square it away on July 1st without any. So we're going to go through all that,
That's perfect.
as well as your preschool stuff.
Wonderful. John, is that what we talked about today? Are they both coming to our meeting, or the email you sent?
I referenced the meeting and stuff.
Is that it? Okay. I wasn't sure if you were coming to our meeting.
Would you include the staff at all, like, as far as concerns they might have?
I'm just going to do it out of the SAU.
Okay, and then that would be with Melissa.
Yeah, I think he's just sharing all the regular hire information, and I'm sure she'll be looking at the staff. Yeah. All right, so we're going to put that off, put the RFP out, and then let Melissa decide what she wants to do.
That's great. In addition, it shares your Executive 48 numbers, which we have been talking about throughout the process. Your Executive 48 numbers has said that you had 5 students who needed additional services based on the shutdown of school. What it shares with you is 1 is on track to be completed by June, 3 have already completed, and 1 will be completed over ESY. So you will be done before the start of the year with all your additional services required. You had 1 less student in your Kid 8 years, and that was your decrease of 1. Other than that, your in-person and remote did not change. And you have 2 active referrals with your preschool, and you have the same student who's turning 3 over the summer. So that same student's left in there. You have 2 active, but you know there's 1 coming in over the summer. That is the student services.
Okay, and you're wearing 3 hats tonight, right?
I am going to do my best to do all that, yes. So I am going to skip the principal's report because it's embedded in the superintendent's report.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is go ahead and go up there, and while I go up so that I can flip through the slides, I'm going to walk around and I'm going to hand you out an addendum that was created today for multiple nominations for stipends for your summer program. So you're going to get 2. Yours does not have the number of hours that we're stipending it for. It has an amount, but I did write them all down and I'll read them for you. It might be 1 short. I'll read them all for you so that you get, did I give you 2 the same? No. So that you get them, I'll give you 2 after. So that you get the hours. Am I sure? You 2 might need to share this middle one. I don't know, somehow. No? Yeah, that's mine, so I'm short 1 piece, but I'll go through it and I'll get back. Okay, so. Okay, so you have quite the list here. Let's start this one. Let's see if we can show it. So, under your personnel report, you have 1 resignation, which is Ms. Begarian, as your assistant principal, which will be effective July 1st of 2021.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move that we accept the resignation of Dr. Garion from assistant principal effective July 1st, 2021.
And with regret. And do we have a second?
Second with regret.
Okay. All right, discussion? We'd like to thank Kathy for helping out this year and filling in a need when we needed someone to really fill in a need. And we wish her well on her future endeavors, and we thank her. All righty, so any other discussion? Okay, Carrie,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
and Debbie, yes. Okay.
Okay, you have a number of nominations. One of them was in your packet, so I'll go over that one. We're asking it to be ratified because it was already approved by the superintendent. I'll do that one first. That is Heidi Jordan for Art Studio Summer Week, which was June 28th to July 2nd at $30 an hour for a total of 18 hours. And that's coming out of REAP.
Okay, so that is not on any
Her
of
name
these.
isn't on.
That was in your email.
That was the email,
Yeah.
okay. I think we discussed it last week, but we didn't.
We forgot to make the actual moment. We
Yes.
did all the moving and yes for the program, and when we came out of non-public, we forgot to make the official motion around staff.
Right,
Right.
okay, so could you just, I'm sorry, could you just give us the numbers again?
Yep, it is Heidi Jordan for Art Studio Summer Week, and it's going to be the dates between June 28th to July 2nd. It's at $30 an hour for approximately 18 hours
And how was that funded?
out of REAP.
But there were
And that's
two
the one that's being
instructors.
ratified.
Yeah, there's.
That's the only,
Candace is on
Oh, okay,
she's on here.
okay.
Alrighty.
Then I move that we accept, we appoint Heidi Jordan for the arts program from June 28th to July 2nd at $30 an hour for approximately 18 hours funded out of the REAP grant.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Yes. We'll make sure that the optional masking is covered, because we only extended that till the end of the school year. So this is July.
That's a good
I
point.
want to extend it.
Okay, if we want to finish that, if you want to make a motion about that, after we finish
Okay,
this,
I just wanted to-
I think we should have a motion and have it
Okay.
official. But it's a good point, it's gonna be hot. So. Alrighty, anybody else have any discussion? Alrighty, so, Carrie,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes,
Eric,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
and Debbie, yes. Okay, do you want to make a motion?
Yes. Make a motion that we extend the optional masking until the end of the summer school program.
Second? I'll second. Second? Okay, discussion?
At this point, do we want to do we want to only extend it until the end of summer program, or do we want to extend it until at least the start of the school year, or maybe longer at this point?
I think making sure that all the stipends that we're looking at right now, there are many summer programs, it looks like. We have a literacy program, we have camp convention, we have an art studio. So there are multiple summer programs. So I would think that we just want to get through
Okay, and this will encompass all of that.
everything that we're talking about at this time.
And that, if anything, God forbid, changes,
We come back
a
and revisit.
visit and so on.
All right. Carrie,
Yes.
Erica,
yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Liz.
Yes.
Okay, Debbie, yes, unanimous. All right,
okay, so you have two addendums here that are rather long. What I'm gonna do for the effort of this, all of them except for one is out of REAP, so I'm gonna go out of order, and I'm gonna say the REAP one first, and then the last ones are out of local operating budget. I'm doing that on purpose, so I don't have to say local operating budget for everyone. Okay, so to save a little bit of time here. So if we can look at the shorter list first, the one that starts with Audrey Dolan. So Candace Mativier for Summer Art Studio at $20 an hour for approximately 50 hours or up to 50 hours out of REAP.
do you want to just go through the
That's
list,
what I-
and then we'll make a motion for all?
That's my hope.
Okay, all right,
Can
okay.
you leave one name out, because I would rather not. I
Yep,
don't think it's appropriate for me to vote on.
I'll leave one, I'll do that on the
Oh, I
side.
didn't even know you was
Well,
there.
Yeah, I was planning on doing that as well.
Okay, all right.
So, I had the same issue with my wife when we do it in Rochester. So, would you like me to leave one out as well, Mr. Amazon, or will you?
No.
Okay, so, I'm gonna go right down the list. Audrey Dolan, Director of Summer Literacy Numeracy, at $30 an hour for 15 hours. Audrey Dolan, Camp Invention Director, $500 for approximately 40 hours for the summer. Audrey Dolan, for Summer Literacy Numeracy Teacher, $30 an hour for 50 hours. Jessica Almazon, Summer Literacy Numeracy Para, $20 an hour for 50 hours. Cindy Duffy, Summer Literacy Numeracy Para, $20 an hour for 50 hours. Candace Mativier, Summer Literacy Numeracy Para, $20 an hour for 32 hours. Mindy Potter, Summer Literacy Numeracy Para, $20 an hour for 50 hours. And Juliana Purvis, $30 an hour for 50 hours. We can approve that one first if you would like, since it's one form.
Okay.
I move we accept the slate as read, for summer stipends, all coming out of local operating budget with the exception of Candace Mativier, who will come out of REAP.
Second.
Okay, discussion? I just want to make sure that these things that are coming out of, all the hours, Nate, that are coming out of the local operating budget, they have been budgeted in our 2021-22 budget.
I did not devise that budget, so I can't tell you if that's the case. I can just tell you that that's where they're putting it out of. I think they're using some ESSER funds too. But if it comes out of the budget, then it gets replenished.
Okay.
I can't tell you that, I'm sorry.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts about that we're not sure about,
I,
if it's budgeted or not?
They've been budgeted in the past.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that the difference for what, there's a difference, and I don't know if this is based on this, but with the REAP money for Candace Matavier and Heidi Jordan, those add up to more than was motion to approve that program at the last meeting.
Okay.
They add up to almost, I don't know if those are coming from a couple of different places,
So
but it
like
looks like
680 the last time or something like that?
it was estimated at 630 for salaries, and we're almost 3 times that. It's not, I don't have an issue with it, I just wanted to point it out.
To make sure that it's actually, you have that much money available in your grant.
I don't manage the retail, so I can't tell you.
Okay,
I know all this was put together with efforts through the team, that it was there. I have faith that it's appropriate, but I can't say that it was budgeted that
okay. John, do you have any input on this?
I think we ought to go ahead with it. I recommend you go ahead with it, and perhaps you can ask for an accounting from the SAU office as to where all these funds come from, and just verify that the funds are coming from the local operating budget, if that is the fact.
And it was budgeted for.
And it was budgeted for.
Right. Okay, so I think we'll request that. Okay, all right. All right, we have a motion, second, any other discussion? Okay. Carrie?
Yes.
Erica?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
And Debbie, yes. Hopefully we budgeted for those things.
Well, you have in the past, we have a large summer literacy program. I just haven't added them up,
Right.
and this was put together by the principals of the school.
There are some of these things also, where we expanded some of these programs because of the COVID issue, so they would come
Some
out
of them
of
might come out of
the
ESSER.
COVID or the ESSER funds.
Well, right, so the way it works first is it comes out, because you don't write it in first, it comes out of your local operating budget, and where you overspend, you can replenish your local operating budget from ESSER, as you've done with your STSFR grants as well. You would fund it out of it, and if it's overspent, you can reimburse it, so you're not actually deficit spending. But and that's where you put that through, and you've done that with other positions.
And it does look like, for me, it looks like that we have more stipends this year than I've seen in a while, so, and it must be because we've expanded the programs, Audrey's shaking her head, yes. So, and that is due to COVID, and so therefore, hopefully we can cover with the extra funds. So we probably didn't budget for all these positions, she's saying no, thank you, Audrey, but we're counting on extra funds. Okay,
I think it would be helpful though in planning the following year's budget, we did have this history, and that's how much money is coming out of the budget that we didn't budget for.
I agree, John, and I think if you look at last year's budget, you'll know what you typically spent for your program pre-COVID. Because your last year's budget was pretty successful in your summer programming. This is to fight that learning loss, so that's or combat the learning loss, so that's where you're at. But I agree, if you look at last year, you'll be able to really delineate where they're at.
all right.
Okay, so your second list, I'm going to take it out of order. I'm going to start with one name first, and then I'll ask for a motion. The first person that I'd like to nominate is Patrick Helm for the Summer Literacy Numeracy Para, coming out of local operating budget at $28 an hour for 50 hours.
You say 20.
$20 an hour
Good,
for
I
50
thought
hours.
you said 28. Okay, we have a motion?
I move we accept the nomination for Patrick Helm for summer literacy numeracy para, $20 an hour coming out of the local operating budget.
Okay, second. Any discussion? This is really great experience for these kids. Yeah, it really is. Good. Anybody else? All right. And that is Carrie
Yes.
and Erica?
Abstain.
Oh, abstain. Okay. And Eric?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
And Debbie, yes. And thank you. All righty. The next group?
Okay, so the next group, I'm going to go right down the list. These are all budgeted for out of your local operating budget at this point. Michelle Hosak, and that is summer literacy numeracy at $30 an hour for 50 hours. Kathy Cunningham, summer literacy numeracy nurse, $55 an hour for 50 hours. Kim Clemens, summer literacy numeracy teacher, and that is for $30 an hour for 50 hours. Courtney Gentile, that is for summer literacy numeracy teacher at $30 an hour for 50 hours. Abby Jacobs, your summer literacy numeracy teacher for $30 an hour for 50 hours. Sarah Roy, summer literacy numeracy teacher, $30 an hour for 50 hours. Barbara Spanendorf. Spatafora, there you go. Summer literacy numeracy Tara, $20 an hour for 50 hours. Allison Wasrowski, $58.20 for 50 hours. And that is for summer literacy numeracy speech therapy. Katie Pagnotta, camp invention instructor, $500 for 40 hours. Sarah Roy, camp invention instructor, $500 for 40 hours. And Caroline Sawyer, $500 for 40 hours, and again, that is also camp invention instructor.
Okay, we have a motion?
I move that we accept the nominations as presented by Mr. Byrne to come out of the local operating budget for summer programming and camp convention.
Second.
Our discussion? I just want to make it clear that we have an increase in staff due to the COVID, the impact of COVID on learning loss, and therefore these funds should be eligible for reimbursement out of the ESSER fund.
The funds that are above our typical summer programming.
Yes, yes, and there was one amount that was much higher than the others, and is that typical?
There were two amounts that were higher than the others, and it is typical because it's based on what their position is, and you base that off of a per diem amount. And if you look at your previous years, that's what had been done.
For 50 hours?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we have money in that's going to be covered, because that's all.
But again, that would be coming out of your 20% set aside that you have to do for learning loss.
Okay. Anything else? All righty. And all those in favor, we have Carrie?
Yes.
Erica?
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
and Debbie, yes. Okay, so this looks like a great summer for the kids. It would be nice to get at some point, just maybe a little bit of feedback, how many kids are actually going to be impacted, because it sounds like we're really doing a lot to help them.
I'm sure that Ms. Nolan would love to give you a report, or work with your incoming principal, Ms. Harvey, to give you a good report as well.
Okay?
So,
Alrighty.
as far as correspondence, there has been no correspondence received on behalf of the school board by the SAU. Your discipline data, I have an addendum, and I'm gonna do my best to get this. This is not my computer. I think I got it right here. Okay, so here's your discipline data. This is your office referrals / discipline information that took place between March 25th, 2021 through April 23rd, 2021. There were a total of 22 school days. That's the first chart. It tells you the type as well as the grade. So if you look across and you're going down the grades, you can see third grade was one of your heavier hitting grades for this trend. And it's a total for that part of 42 that they've seen for that month. One thing that I would recommend going down the line at some point is you probably want to track where you have 17. You might want to track your repeat offenders, not the name, but the tracking, so that you can see the trend of whether it was a lot of third graders or one third grader having a really rough month. And if you track the repeat offenders, that's one of the things I've done. So it's something that you probably want to look at moving down the line, so you can see if it's a blip, or you can see if there's something going on, because at that point it will also let you know that you can put some interventions in place. It can start planning on what that might look like down the line. Because what it would indicate is that student, if it's one student really doing a lot of behaviors, they're probably going to need some supports put in place, and that's when you start looking at your constellations and other features like that.
Although it drops right back again for the next month.
And that's why I said a bad month.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it did drop right down. And then what you'll see is from May 3rd to May 25th, you'll see your numbers, and really what you're seeing is a drastic decrease, which is very, very rare, of your total going from 42 down to 26. Typically, this time of the year in May, you actually start to see trends going up. I used to call it as middle school AP, eighth grade-itis. You saw a lot of the older students really pushing the limits because they knew they were going to be done. You were getting into summer months, they were a little agitated. So really, these numbers are really great considering all that the students are going through with masks and everything else and being agitated and all the changes. So your numbers look really good. And you'll see that third grade went down. You have an outlier of seventh grade. And again, what you just have to decide, look at is that a trend? Is that one student? Is that a couple students? Are they interacting with each other to spike? And sometimes that happens. So if you had 3 students, so for instance, the six in discipline, if you had 3 students who were goofing off often together, 2 incidences would give you 6. So you just have to look at that. Right, so you just have to look at that. You know, it's 1 class, 2 incidences between 6 kids give you that. So you want to kind of just look at that. So those are your trends for your discipline. It is looking good. That's a very nice number to have. I will tell you that's not a problem to have there. That's something pretty nice.
March was also the start of kids coming back 5 days a week too, right?
Yep. So it was that transition, and that's kind of what
Yeah, I get a couple of the non-compliance that was probably.
Right, the non-compliance and trying to conform to the new mask, going through what was going on.
New teachers.
New teachers, right. So we already talked about it. I'm going to list it here because it was later. I just wanted to make sure that I did discuss it. It was the request to ratify the superintendent's action, which was to approve the purchase of the summer art supplies as well. So this is something that she often does purchases. So it's not really like a purchase comes through. As a board, you don't typically approve purchases for a program, but you know, right away it will come to you. You'll sign off on the manifest and go from there. What she wanted to do is get them in so they were in place. And she did list those different things as well. So that's the other part of the ratification, is just that you know that she approved the purchase and purchased the items.
do we need a number? Do you want that to be ratified?
I think that's what
Motion?
we approved, that
Was
wasn't
that the
our motion
16?
last time.
Yeah.
We just didn't do the personnel piece, but I thought we did the program and the program costs, but not the personnel. Yeah, 6 something
It
for
was-
supplies.
It's,
960?
960 was total, 630 was
Golly, I must have it right here.
salaries, and then 300, I believe, was
So
supplies.
yeah, I have a couple different lists here for supplies, one at 197.36, another one at 228.31. These were all the different amounts that were ordered, and again, this is something that had already been put together to make sure that the stuff would take place. Because I believe that the reason this was discussed is last year, you ran into a little bit of an issue a year before getting the supplies in on time to do the activity.
Yeah, you voted on 9:30 last month.
So was 930 the total, or was that from the materials?
It was 6, well, what's in the minutes is 630 teacher stipend and 300 for supplies. What is
Okay,
listed in the minutes as the motion is a 930 total not broken up.
okay, so it was 300 for supplies? Okay, so, maybe we need to make that motion again, so we're all set. You want to make a motion for the 300 for supplies?
Well, I have a list of more than that for supplies, that's the only thing.
Okay.
So it sounds like we did not get accurate information all the way around last.
Okay, what was the amount that you?
So one of the purchase amounts was for $197.36. The other purchase amount was for $228.31.
Supply committee,
So those are the two purchases.
425.67?
Sounds about right. What might have happened is what was budgeted in the cart, by the time it was ordered, it goes up. That happens often, and I will tell you that's the bane of my existence for the state approving IDA grants. We budget for things. By the time it gets the approval to do it and we purchase it, it could be $3, $4 each individual piece. And it will change, and it's trying to track that stuff. So that's probably what happened here.
Make a motion? I feel like that's what we need.
okay. I move that we, no, Eric had made the first one, so I wanted to give him first. Right.
Okay, I move we accept, $425.67 for supplies for the summer art program.
I thought you said 428.
No, I have 425.67.
Okay.
Okay, you guys do, okay. All right, discussion?
That's it.
Okay, Carrie seconded it. Okay, Carrie,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes,
Liz,
Yes.
and Debbie. Yes. Okay.
Okay, there's one other thing, it says that's the end of the superintendent's report. The last part that was put in after this was just that, Dr. Henson wanted me to go ahead and inform the board that as of, yesterday, your, total vaccination rate for adults in Strafford County is 55.5%. Keeping a look at what's going on COVID-wise in Strafford. Okay.
Okay, so next we have correspondence. And, I'm going to, all right, let's see. Well, we had Paul, from the Strafford Rec who came, and he asked us about coming to this meeting. Yeah, I forwarded it to you. Yep. And then also Audrey, let me just get this. Audrey Dolan, I'm ready to see if the board would be willing to approve the hiring of yet another instructor for Camp Convention at $500 for the week of August 2nd to the 6th. We are already up to 63 participants and seem to be growing daily. In the past, we had 2 instructors for 30 to 35 campers. We have doubled the numbers this year. I imagine it is a response to the COVID situation, which reduced science experiences for the past. If we hire 4 instructors now, there will be 16 students in a group. I expect that group will grow to 17 to 18 campers. This is really the maximum number for these young inventors. I need to look for a certified teacher before the school year ends. Please advise me as to whether we would approve this hire or not. Now, that was not included in the stipend.
It was not.
So this is an additional stipend of $500, which again, we're saying that it could be a response to COVID.
I've never seen such a number.
Okay, so that is, I mean, I
That should
have
fall
it,
under Esther, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
I would think that would be so. It is on the agenda for later on, but it's also under correspondence. So if you'd like to make a motion about this now or wait for more discussion, it's, what do you want to do?
Mr. Bring.
If I can recommend
Yes.
that you just go ahead and say, yes, you'll approve it when the nomination comes forward, because you can't, you know,
We don't have a name. Okay, thank you.
it needs to be nominated.
Okay, so will the board approve an additional $500 for an additional instructor? We do not know who that instructor is before camp convention. Do we need a vote or do we need a consensus?
You can do a consensus.
Okay. We have a consensus that we will approve another $500. This is coming out of the next year's operating budget and hopefully maybe as funds.
Yes.
Yes? We're all set with that? Okay, thank you. You're welcome. Okay. All right, so that was one of our correspondence. All right, let's go back. We have several. Again, we had more correspondence. I don't think I need to read all of them, but people asking again about, Sarah Hussey asked about the graduation, the masking. So again, that was, the response was to send a notice home to parents, an email home to let everybody know what we decided. We also had we had Jessica Reeves ask the board about removing the mask policy, and yes, we did that, and she gave a lot of information. Everybody received that email, right? Charts and stuff from the CDC and so forth. I don't know if I should have to read the entire email.
No, please.
Okay, thank you. I'm getting a little tired here, we have so much to do. It was a good email, very well written, lots of information, and we ended up doing it, so. Mandy Young wrote to us, and that was also about mask wearing. She was asking us to please remove the mask mandate, and happy to tell you, Mandy, we did. And let's see. Okay. Who's this? Cheyenne Bostrom. She also asked us to remove the mask mandate, and we did. She thanked us. Everyone's thanking us for what we've been doing all along. So that's very nice. All right. We had a couple of emails from Bobby Kazas. Somebody, how do you say her name? Okay. And she had questions about middle school math, but it seemed like those questions were answered. So by the administration, the new administration committee. We then had a nice thank you note from Keisha Morris, thanking us for removing the mask mandate. Thank you. Okay. We also, let's see. Now, I just got this today, like at 5:30. So, hello, school board members and Dr. Henson. This is from Amanda Roy. If you would like to attend the 8th grade graduation as a spectator, please let me know by the end of the week, if possible, so we can be sure to reserve a space for you. Graduation is scheduled for Tuesday, June 22nd at 5:30, with a rain date of Thursday, the 24th. So we are all invited, it looks like. I know that was a question. We didn't know if we had the time or they had the space for us, but apparently they do. So I'm going to forward this right now to people so you can respond on your own. But that just came tonight. I'm sorry. Let me do it now. People can get it. Okay, so it's gonna go to everybody. Alrighty.
We had one letter opposed to lifting the mask mandate.
Who was that one from?
Lisa Dozier.
Did that go to the, did that, I didn't get that one. Did she send it to the,
I didn't see who it got sent to, I assumed you had forwarded it.
no,
I mean, I'm sure I saw it, I didn't register.
No, I never saw that one.
It's-
Did she send it to the school? I only look at the general school board email. I don't have my personal email.
Right, no, it's extra.
Yeah, so I never saw that. And
It was
if,
on June 6th.
okay, so, you want Lisa Dillingham on June 6th wrote an email not in favor of the mask lifting. Is that correct? Okay, for your notes. So if anybody notices you get an email like that, would you forward it to me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm going to, I would have received it, but I don't use that email. Too many email addresses going right now. It's too hard. Okay, all right, there's that, the graduation.
Can I just ask if, those emails from Ms. Kozlowski about math, is there like a 2-minute, update on that we could get? Math is always a hot topic around the school.
I don't have any more information, and Danielle was going to be here tonight, but she has an event in her current job. So I'll ask her to come next time, that she expects to do it, and just fill you in on that.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, so anybody else have correspondence? Okay. Strafford Community Calendar. So July 1st, we have our new SAU 105 starting. Did we want to introduce like the other people?
John, I contacted John,
God, you're good.
yeah, and so John wrote something up, and I sent it to Eric.
Yep.
And we're both gonna review it, looks great.
Good.
Very nice, made our job very easy.
Yeah.
So we can file the new staff in the SAU?
Yes.
That's awesome, perfect.
So we're all set on that,
Okay.
we're all over.
All right, and that's perfect. So and just for people listening, we do have a new student services director, and her name is Melissa, what's her last name? McKeon. We also have a new business manager, Lisa Seska?
Yes.
Seska. Okay, she's going to be starting on July 14th, June 14th, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. June 14th. And then we also have our admin, who is also our HR facilitator, Sheila Dupree. And she's starting July 1st. Okay, great. And we do have postings for a bookkeeper.
Yes, and we have applicants.
Great. Okay, so that's really the only SAU position that we have filled. So great. All righty. Committee updates. Any committee updates, facility or anything?
Yep, so me and Carrie took a little walk around outside today, and we discussed the potential of putting up a little shade shelter. I found some shades online, like 16 foot by 16 foot, and it looks like we could get some galvanized fence posts and cement them into the ground with a couple of bags of Quikrete and some wire, like dog clip type ties, so they would be removable. And we would like to try one out and see how it works. I know we always have wind around here, but it would be removable, and this would be a good effort to see if it would work.
How much are they?
We can put one together for under $500.
And how large is it?
It's 16 feet by 16 feet.
So would we need, so you just want to get one first?
I think that would be a good idea. I think that would be a good idea, to just try one out and see how it holds up.
How long, I'm sorry.
Could it, I'm not knowing that you guys have lives and all, is there a chance that that would be done by next meeting, so that if it works and we want more, we can vote on it next meeting to have them in time for? I mean, there's no rush if they can't be done for summer programming, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, the shade was, it was available online. I didn't look at the lead time on it. And then the other stuff, I went to Home Depot the other night and just priced out the parts,
Okay.
and they're all available there. It could, that is possibly doable.
Well, I guess, or I am comfortable with your judgment, you guys, your judgment that if it works, it works. So I'm wondering if what we say is, yes, please order one. If it works, go ahead and order. Like, we decide tonight how many in total we want if it works.
We'll bring you up there.
I understand, but I'm worried that these things are gonna be backed up. So I want to free you up to order the more as quickly as possible.
Are you ordering them on Amazon?
I ended up just doing a Google search, and it was a couple of different ones popped up. But I believe it was from Garage Structures or something, one where I found it.
Sometimes, some of these companies also work through Amazon,
Yeah.
and then you could get something within days.
Yeah. Oh, I don't anticipate that these would be long lead time items, because it's essentially just buying a piece. It's not like a whole kit.
Okay.
We'd be putting the kit together.
If you like them, do you anticipate needing 2, 3? What are you thinking?
I just had the idea of 3. I mean, I don't know what the school's usage is on them. I know you appreciate them, and I think everyone would appreciate them, but 3 was just what popped into my head. And as far as, you know, somebody who's out here during the day all the time and knows where the sun is at what times and could weigh in on placement, because, you know, these would be things that are going to be here for a while, so we'd want to do it that way.
Okay, do you think it would be good to make a motion to approve the purchase of 3 at $500 a piece, based on the purchasing one first and it being successful? So
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that sounds good.
okay, because we have the surplus funds, if we're doing it before July 1st,
Yeah.
we have surplus funds now.
Yeah.
After July 1st, we aren't surplus funds.
Yeah.
So that's why
If
we
we
have.
have like material on hand and everything, I think we would be okay. I think that's practice has been, you know, way higher, as long as you have like material on hand.
But just in case something happens, I think the idea of giving you the permission, if you try it and it's wonderful, and you say, these things are great.
What the
then
removable,
let's just-
the removable part of it, I really like, because it can get really rowdy out there.
Well, and then it'll last all year. If we start taking them in the winter
Right,
easily and stuff, we could get some more longevity.
right. Are they colors?
The only ones I saw, I didn't do too much research on the color choices. The ones I saw were sand colored, so they're like a tan, beige tan
Is
color.
that the flyers in me?
I think I sent it to you. I know I sent it to Carrie. I sent it to Gary also.
They look very durable.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you want to make a motion about that?
So I move we authorize the facilities committee to purchase up to 3 sails to make shaded areas at approximately $500 a piece, if after ordering the first one, the project is feasible.
Not to go over that price.
Not to go over 1,500 total.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, and so discussion? So not only is it feasible, but meaning also that they work.
Right, that's what I meant,
Yeah,
like
right.
practical.
So if they are,
It suits our needs.
if they work and they're sturdy enough, then, yeah, go for it. And that, we do have surplus right now, so it would come out of our surplus. All right, anybody else? Okay, thank you for researching that, you two. Okay, Carrie,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
and Debbie, yes. Okay.
Eric gets all the credit, especially if it goes wrong.
I'll take the credit, you can take the blame. That's all.
You know, it really is nice, since we cut down all those trees, even for baseball games, good to stand under this, under there, but, you know, someday we'd love to build that
I
structure.
got RFP starting on that scope of work and everything, so,
Good,
but this would be a nice, kind of like a.
intermediate, good. All righty, any other facility things?
president of the PTO spoke with me, and she just mentioned the idea of in the future at some point, doing a little bit of flower gardening and sprucing up out front. She mentioned the Patricia Young reading area and the Tano Reynolds tree. So that was something they were thinking about, and she just wanted to bring it to our attention.
So the PTO would love to do that, they'd like to do that?
Well, they want to be involved in it. I didn't get any details as far as what it entails. This was just a brief 2-minute conversation, but there was interest in sprucing it up and helping.
I've gone in there in the past, and just done it myself, because it just, nobody else is doing it, and I'd be happy to be involved in that. Just to help out with that, to get people organized.
Do you want to?
Sure.
Meet with them?
Is that Jessica?
Yeah.
That sounds great.
And I know Jennifer, she's gonna be a seasonal custodian, I know she was talking about stuff like that too, so get Jennifer involved.
Jen?
Yeah.
I'll see Jen, yeah.
Yeah.
Good, okay.
So you could be like the landscaping committee.
See how this works, Liz?
You have an idea, and it's like, now your job.
Amanda Roy also.
Yes, I mean,
Amanda Roy, last summer, she's out there.
she's a landscape, that's her.
Yeah, she has
Really
credentials,
great
yes.
Really?
Yeah, she's really good,
Good.
yeah.
I
I
know
was
we,
impressed with her.
I know we've tried to do gardens with the kids growing things, but, maybe not. Yes. All right, good. Well, we'll hear more about that in the future from the landscaping committee. All right. And transition update, we just have, I'm gonna have Aaron has an update, and then, John, we've ordered furniture, right?
Yes.
Okay, furniture's been ordered for the new SAU, and, we've been in touch with the sign people, and they were supposed to come out, I don't know, I think with the heat, maybe they didn't, because I didn't hear from them. Yeah, they were gonna look at the modular, look to see where the street placement of a sign should be, and, you know, all that type of stuff. That was gonna be part of it, for them to come out and actually see it and tell us where they thought things should go. Now, we have, Aaron. Aaron has a big update for us. He's our guy.
So there's really 3 active fronts that I've been managing through this process. The first one is the frontline professional development software. That's in really good shape. Tomorrow morning, Linda Osborne and I are having pretty much our last follow-up meeting. The new site is built. All of the SAU 105 personnel data is rolled over. And for the most part, from what I understand, that's ready to go. So July 1st, that's in really good shape. The next big thing is the financial software that we've been working with BMSI up in Franconia. And Lisa, the new finance manager, is on the same page now with Bruce, who's the project manager there. And it's pretty much the same situation. There are a few more blanks that they need filled in. And as far as I know, they're meeting tomorrow. We're hoping to loop Glenn into this process because he can answer a lot of questions that I can't. You know, I'm finding a lot of questions coming to me that I need to redirect. And, you know, that's just where things are at right now. I can connect dots, but filling in these kind of blanks, that's not where I'm at. So that's in good shape as far as that goes. And then the other big thing is the network infrastructure of the modular outside. Atlanta Providence came Friday morning to do the service installation, but there was a miscommunication on what we needed, and what they came to do didn't match what we had signed. The contract that we had signed, we signed an agreement for the internet, the 4 phones, the hosted phones and all that. So they weren't ready to do that, so there was a little hairball there, but in the process of renegotiating, we were able to upgrade pretty massively the network out there to hosted phones. They threw in for free, service for free, auto attendant, all these great new features. So that's in good shape. They're waiting on me to do some wiring this week. I crawled around there a little bit yesterday, and should be in good shape by the end of the week. So they're gonna come, set up the switches, put the modem in, they've got the phones all configured, so it's really just on me now to pull all the cable that they need. They came and dropped some work boxes outside by the meter on the back end, so they're ready to tie everything in, so things are good.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And then I'm going to be giving Aaron tomorrow a list of all these other pieces that, timelines. They have boxes of all of our physical files and things like that, file cabinets, everything ready to go. We just need like a timeline of, okay, when are these things being delivered and all that stuff. So I have a list of many things, and my good friend and helper, Sue Levinson, helped me create this. And we're gonna put this together, and I'm gonna send this to Aaron, and he'll send it to all the people involved, so we have like a real down to the wire plan of, what dates, when this is happening and all that kind of stuff.
I can elaborate a little on that too. So there's physical files and there's digital files. The digital stuff, if you remember, we purchased a cloud backup system that I installed at the SAU to just manually start dumping everything we had there, digital, all the electronic stuff. That's up and that's good to go. So it's just the physical stuff now, the bank boxes and the locked filing cabinets, that kind of stuff, just chain of command, sign off on it, it's yours.
That's perfect. And I guess we just need to figure out when we feel the modular is secure enough to have these kinds of files moved over. So maybe, John, you can, I'm gonna create this thing, Sue is reading off things, making, of all these things we still need to do. So I'm gonna put it together, send to you and Aaron, and then we can do our checklist, or down to the wire checklist.
That sounds good. Gary will need to be involved because he's got a piece of the action physically as well.
Great. All righty.
Just one more thing about the modular, is there a plan to put a ramp on that modular?
Yes.
Yeah,
Because
we're looking, I did get a quote for I had a quote, and for the push figure for 9,000. He's also gonna look into an aluminum one.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so that's pending, but
Okay, yeah, maybe we
We're looking
should
into
be
Right. We wanted to get
public funds.
we wanted to get the inside down first.
Yeah.
And then that would be next,
Okay, so,
because it's a nice option, but it is an option, it's a nice option.
So do we want to make sure we do that before July 1st? Because we have the surplus now and we could use that. We don't have that budgeted for next year, but we have it now.
I can see if we can get it ordered.
Okay,
Or
okay.
make a decision,
Because if
because
it's
I do
aluminum, we
believe,
can order it, right?
I do believe if we have it ordered.
I think you're right,
Material
typical
on hand.
funds.
right,
All right, I will push that again.
thank you,
But I did have that conversation with,
great, thank you, Carol.
Did he do the second office yet for the business manager?
yeah,
He did, but
Yeah.
did he move that other day?
no.
I knew that we were just, yes, he needed that.
Huh?
I knew.
Throw something at me, Billy. Throw something.
I knew it.
All right.
Okay, anyway, all right. Superintendent-elect report.
Well, I've been at school last week and this week, and it's been delightful. I find the school to have a very, very positive, friendly atmosphere. Standing out there in the morning, the folks who greet the kids are absolutely wonderful. They're a treasure, and the kids are greeted personally by any number of folks before they even hit the building. In the building, I've stationed myself in the library, and I've worked and done 2, 3, 4 walkthroughs of the building each day. Again, it's a very, very nice, positive atmosphere in the school. It's a welcoming place. It's a great place, I think, for both kids and adults from that perspective. I had the opportunity to do recess duty yesterday, and it was hurt. Everybody came back in, we didn't lose anybody, so that went well. And I had the opportunity to substitute in a 7th grade class yesterday as well. And if I tell you the kids were perfect, you won't believe me, but they were absolutely perfect. It was just unbelievable.
That's wonderful, that you were saying.
Yes,
That's respect.
great. We're just wonderful. Thank you for doing this. Unbelievable.
So I think we're doing well. We have the positions. We're a little bit down to the wire on some of the positions. The The ones that I'm concerned about is bookkeeper. We've got a couple of folks interested, and Lisa's on that. We have 2 folks for the IT position, and Lisa and Dan, yes, Lisa and Danielle will collaborate on that. And then we've been getting lots of applicants for the grade 4 and grade 7 and 8 social studies position. I don't think we've gotten one for the special education manager, but Melissa will be on that as well.
And Aaron will also help with the IT.
Yes,
right?
of course, yes. But I think it's going well. I think, I don't know if we're forgetting something. I don't think we're forgetting anything major. I've reached out to a number of folks, School Boards Association and School Administrators Association, and asked them basically, what do you think I'm likely to forget? And really haven't gotten anything back from them of substance. So I think we'll be ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Good. We're so thankful. Okay, great. Now we have the co-brown contract discussion. And Erica passed out contracts from
Chester and Candia, their contracts with Pinkerton, just since there's a similar sort of set.
And then in our packet, we had Nottingham's, and Nottingham's contract is so different than our contract. Which was, and John, I think, noted that they had a section, John, you said about the BLAPs.
Right, it didn't specifically address BLAS, but it addressed part-time students who were taking, not taking a full schedule.
So it was
And then adjustment.
an adjustment.
And that was consistent with the Pinkerton ones.
Okay, so I don't know if we want to maybe hand these over to John or whatever to sort of look through them, or if we want to go through them line by line right now. What are we looking for? I like a lot of the stuff in Nottingham, to be honest with you. I didn't get a chance to look at the other 2.
No, and I apologize. I had a crisis at work all day yesterday. And wasn't able to.
But I know that we talked about, Erica brought up at our last meeting, and I think it's a good point, and I think Nottingham addresses it. We certainly want to keep Co-Brown as our school of record. We love Co-Brown.
Sure.
However, we want to make it a little bit more flexible for kids to be able to choose if they want to go someplace else, because sometimes it seems to be a big hurdle to get that approved. So I know that's the language that we were looking at. Now, as John said, in Nottingham's, it does allow for what we've experienced this year, if a student is part-time or isn't even going to the school, that we're charged for the time that they're there. What else are we looking for? Like pieces that we need, like, want to go through and what do we want?
In some cases, we might not know what we want until we look at what other folks have. I'd be happy to go through these
Okay.
and do.
Yeah, I mean, just a quick example, just because it came up for us, I think right before the shutdown, I can't remember, time has no meaning anymore, but at Chester's, for example, said Pinkerton will accept 2 foreign exchange students and not charge tuition. So, little things like that, as John says, without reading through them and really knowing some of the options.
Okay.
But maybe some little things like that would be nice, because I think we have a great community to be able to share internationally. But it's tough when a deciding factor if a family can host a family is whether that we're gonna pay their tuition. So
That's true, yeah. So do you want to maybe take this week and read through it and send comments to John of things that we see or we would like him to maybe look at?
Sure.
Okay.
I think one of them has a different way of calculating special ed costs. I don't know if that would be beneficial or not, but that might be something for us to look at.
Okay.
I think they essentially do it the same way now that, costs are already paid for the services instead of an increased tuition rate.
So here we have 3 contracts. We're going to take this week, try to read them carefully, circle things you like, send the comments to John, and then maybe John could put something together, bring it to us. We'll let our attorneys look at it. I don't even know what our date was we were supposed to sign the contract. Probably probably is in June, but I didn't even, I guess that was in last week's, because I'm not seeing it in here. So we probably should try to get this done at our next meeting, okay? All right, good. I thought that was gonna be like an hour-long discussion. But John's gonna do it.
Well, if you do his homework, then it doesn't have to be done in a hot room, in an evening.
Well, right now, we only have 2 people, visitors here, so, or 3, there's Keisha. I think that, you know, as the summer is so hot and we have the air conditioning, how are people feeling? We can move, I mean, if there's we can always, in the day of the meeting, if there's a hot topic and we notice we're gonna get, 20 people here, we can move into the library, into the gym. But do people feel comfortable going back to the library?
Yes, I think the acoustics are much better in there also.
Okay, all right, we're going back to the library. We'll be cool all summer. Air conditioning.
You're a great chick.
Good ideas. All right, okay, so the end of the year spending, we have some, Aaron has provided us with some things. Since at our last, our May meeting, we did find out, according to that time, that we had a pretty big surplus. I spoke with Aaron, knowing that we had this month, to figure out if there was anything else we needed before the books closed. He said that there were some technology pieces that were really pretty much on their last legs, and he gave us a list, but we don't know exactly what our surplus is right now because we don't have the up-to-date one. So I spoke to John about this. I think Danielle also maybe had a couple of some things.
Danielle has some things, which I don't have in front of me. Sheila, we also put a list of things, startup things for the SAU office, and showed it to me, and it looked good. I asked her to cost and how much she hasn't done that yet.
So I don't know, we knew that the last meeting, or that May meeting, we had a pretty large surplus. We don't know what it is right now.
Have we asked staff if there's any?
I think that's what Danielle did.
Danielle did,
That's
okay.
my understanding.
I've been around and around about that for years. My classroom.
So,
Yeah.
but in Aaron's proposals, a lot of these looks like they're already budgeted for.
Well, we were talking about things that we might use the surplus, some of the surplus, since some of the funds that we receive for the CARES Act and so forth, a lot of them other districts use for technology, but we didn't end up using ours for technology because of all different reasons. And I think it was also, at one point, hard to get things in because they were out of stock. So this is up to the board, if you want to do anything about this or not. But we could wait until our next meeting, talk about it more, have John look at these things too. What do you think? I was afraid that we would let this time go by and we would miss out on having things ordered for that whole June 30th timeline. Because normally we're asked about certain things, and that didn't happen this, last couple of meetings. So
If we have a surplus, I think we should
go forward.
go for it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree, because nobody knows what next year's gonna be like. And, I think we took out, the reason we have the large surplus is because we took out of our budget regular budgeted items, and they were used for the CARES Act and some of the other funds we received. We didn't really order a whole lot of new things. It was, remember, we were trying to fill up, how can we find $80,000? You gonna say something?
I just wanted to make a recommendation for you so that you didn't spin on whether you're gonna miss out on it. So you could make a recommendation to purchase these funds with with surplus funds if the amount was less than, if your surplus fund was greater than this amount.
Right.
So then at that point, what you can do is verify what your surplus fund is. Your motion would say, if you had at least this much in your surplus fund, we would like to order this stuff. Aaron will work with Glenn to get it squared away.
Okay.
So that will give you don't have to wait till the next meeting.
No,
We can wait
that's a
till
good
Tuesday.
idea. John and I actually spoke about that, because we were both worried about like, what do we actually have left? So, do people feel comfortable with that? Like, if we have at least $350,000 left, or $400,000 left, because we had like $800,000 they were telling us. We don't know how accurate that is.
Right.
So, what do people think?
I think we go for it.
Yeah, all right, so,
Even if there's less than $350,000, what are we talking, 21?
right.
Well, I mean, if it's needed, it's needed, and it's not
Well,
gonna
and that
get less
frees up-
expensive.
And the way I'm reading this is it now frees up money that has been budgeted for next year.
Because these are all.
Because in the
items-
write-up, it said that they're already in the budget for
Well,
next
we
year.
may be able to find more technology.
Right, I'm
pieces
just saying it
next
frees
year.
us up for other
Right.
ventures if we get this level done now.
Right, and, we also, we do want to have a cushion, because we're bringing in, John is here a month early. We're bringing in the BA, or the business manager, 2 weeks early. So we're doing, we
And
are.
a stipend for Danielle.
Yeah, a stipend for Danielle, so we are spending money, so we don't want to say, well, it doesn't matter what we have left, because we are spending money, we know that we are. We just don't know the exact total at this point. So I think having a motion where we know we have at least, if you don't want to say 350, 250, I know we have no, say $300,000, and that's, I know we'll be able to take $10,000 out. People feel comfortable with that? Do we want to make a motion? I'll make a motion. Okay. I'm going to make a motion that we accept the 2020-21 surplus technology expenditure proposal to include technology pieces, desktop PC, smart board, projectors, iPads, sound equipment, battery backups, 4 raceways, and a new PC monitors. This total of the proposal, Aaron, you gave me a big gap here. I have 11 to 21.
Yeah, that's the minimum and the maximum, based on the number of items that are itemized there. So if you went with three monitors, that'd be 300, 6 would be 600, you'll see.
Okay.
Column above that.
Okay, all right, so.
It's a range.
At $20,000, I think we have enough money to cover that. People feel comfortable. All right, to go with the $21,000 proposal. And this we would approve this based on receiving an updated, up-to-date budget surplus that would include at least a surplus of $300,000.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Not to make more work for you, but when you're doing the sound equipment, if you could double check with Mary Irons around, just so that we can also use it for theater stuff.
Definitely.
And, because we're not gonna be going in here this much, so, thank you.
And thank you, Aaron, so much.
I would also like to bring forward another amount next time, if we're not prepared to do that. Danielle advises me that teachers hadn't ordered this year everything they expected to, so it would be good if we could get that list, so the folks have the minimum of what they, at least the minimum of what they feel they need for teaching. And if Sheila will cross that her items, I'd rather bring you a list so you see what we're talking about.
Yes.
And I think next time, well, it has to be next time, but I think that will give us enough time to place it.
And we'll know the surplus by then. Yes. Okay. Great. All righty. No more discussion. Okay. All right. Here we go. Carrie?
Yes.
Erica?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
And Liz?
Yes.
And Debbie? Yes. Okay. That's unanimous. Thank you, Aaron, again. Thank you. Okay. All right. Do we have anything else? Future meetings? I guess, are we still having that joint board meeting on?
No.
We're not?
No.
Okay.
Tentatively for the 21st at this point.
June 21st?
I'm sorry, for joint?
Yeah,
Interesting,
tentatively.
okay.
Okay. Okay, and that's a Monday. And when's our graduation? The 22nd?
22nd.
Really, the board meeting, 23rd.
Okay, regular board meeting the 23rd, and then, so at that board meeting on the 23rd, that will be in the library. And we will then have the final list, hopefully the ramp amount, the amount for the Danielle's information and Sheila's information, right? Okay. All right. Was there anything else we needed for those meetings, just to remind people?
You had told me something from,
Did I tell you something? And John's going to be bringing the contract information to us.
yeah, no, I thought there was something else that.
Okay, all right.
She asked you to pass on to Glenn, or,
Um,
I'll let it go.
The RFP was gonna be posted, but that's not for next meeting.
Yeah, no,
Right, okay. Oh, I am going to be sending out, I don't know if you'll be involved, but, hopefully tomorrow, just that punch list of the other things and asking people to put together a timeline of when things are gonna be completed, so we're all set. All right, you want anything else?
No,
Okay, other? Oh, the camp invention, I think we did already. We said that we would approve the additional staff person. All right, and we have staffing updates. And we do have a bunch of things for non-public. Oh, Nate, do you have that preschool inventory yet?
Monica is working on it with Mr. Graham, and she will have it for you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. All right. And I think the rest of our things are for non-public. Okay, now we have public comments.
Hi, Audrey Dolan. I want to thank you for your generosity in supporting all the summer programs. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do have one other thing to run by you. We had talked about possibly providing bus transportation for some of those non-special ed students who are coming to the summer program, possibly using those COVID funds for those, because we do have a lot of students coming to get extra help. So Dale Transportation quoted me the same bus price that I think they used all year. I think it was $313 and change per bus per day. I'm trying to work with Eric to see if we could just do 2 bus runs, like one bus takes one side of town and the other bus goes the other. But before I go any further, I just want to know how the board feels about approving that, because it would be possibly 2 buses a day for 12 days at $313 and change. And, pardon?
For each bus?
Per bus.
So this is like a $7,000 ask.
It's a pretty big
Okay.
bill, and I just am bringing it to the board for your discussion and possibly approval before we move forward.
Maybe that's something we should, John, I don't know where, if you're up to date on the ESSER funds, that we've been, that second ESSER funds, if we know our balance, how much we still have available.
I don't, when I met with Glenn and others and Fred over there a couple of months ago, I was letting you know that there is a lot of money still there. Do you have that impression?
There is a lot of money still there. And I don't know the exact amount, but again, that would cover it.
Okay, so it says that we were given $145,000, almost $146,000 for the ESSER funds, and we've spent, let's see. It looks like we spent $30,000, so there could be $110,000 left. Does that feel right?
That sounds about right, if that's what you spend. Again, I haven't been involved in your extra conversation, so I don't want to misspeak that number, but you should have a fair amount left.
So do we want to ask John to check? Do you want to check, John?
I can check.
And find out exactly what we have left, and if we do have that amount, do people feel comfortable in spending it on the $7,000 for busing?
for sure.
Seems like that would definitely qualify without a doubt.
I would think.
Our numbers are huge.
The only thing I would be,
What was that?
the only thing I want requesting is the
The pavilion,
yes, but I should know the ballpark that would be money wise.
So I'll caution you you are not seeing building projects approved.
That did get kind of,
I'm just gonna caution you on that.
what's that?
I'm just cautioning you on that. Right now, from what I've heard from the area superintendents,
Yeah.
building projects are not being approved.
Direct to learning loss is getting, and nothing else is being, is what I'm hearing as well at work.
It's
They're
got
just
a
not being acted.
lot of rules, and they have not been approved. Even some that have been approved have been then withdrawn
Yeah,
before they were.
even HVACs
Yes.
are getting rejected, yeah, and
So
not
I'm just-
even rejected, they're just not getting
Yeah,
touched.
I just want to make sure you're aware of that. So I don't want you to get too excited and, you know,
Well, I was assuming all this time, because Federal did look at it.
and originally it was in the specs to be able to be done, but they have not been getting approved. So there's a difference between what was said you could use it for and what's getting approved right now. So I
And you
just want to
can't
make sure
even
you
go out
understand.
to bid before it's approved.
And before you can go out to bid, you have to have some specs, and before you, there's a lot
It's
of.
almost like they're setting it up so we can't get to the money. You know, I mean, you have all this
Yeah.
money available, and then there's so many loopholes and rabbit holes and stalls.
Right,
It's,
Well, maybe Eric's idea is going to be a little bit good.
right. I mean, we'd love to be able to.
and I wholeheartedly support it if we can get it
I
through.
Yeah.
agree too, I agree, yeah.
All right. Well, I just find out more.
Yeah. Okay. All righty.
So just add with, relative to both of you, I don't know if you want to take a motion and, to the effect that if there are funds available, that we would support that. I think there's no doubt that if we had bus service, the participation rate would be very.
Sure, and they have to get routes to the driver. So I move that we approve bus transportation for the summer programming for 2 buses to get here for the summer programming portion only, not camp
They're
invention,
from, yeah.
not the other electives, but the summer programming run by the school district.
Okay, do you have a second?
Sorry?
Liz, second,
Due to learning.
due to learning loss.
Because of learning loss and the expansion of our summer program.
I said. Okay, discussion? Okay, so we are, obviously, our summer program has expanded due to learning loss with the COVID situation this year, and so the request is to have 2 buses for approximately $7,000, bringing kids to and from that extra summer literacy program to help them address learning loss due to COVID. Okay, and we're hoping that will come out of ESSER funds. All right,
Who seconded?
Liz. Anybody else comment?
It's roughly 7,500.
Okay, all right, voting. All right, Carrie,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes,
Eric,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
and Debbie, yes. Thank you. Doing well, okay. Any other public comment? No? Thank you for your thank you note. All righty, so we're going to go into non-public, and it's for many reasons, so I have to get all of the,
You want those down? A, C, K, and L.
say the
A, C, K, and L.
A, C, K, and L.
is that it?
A, C, K, and L.
I move that we go into non-public under RSA 91A32 A, C, K, and L at 7:39 PM.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, and I'm going Okay, we ready? All right, we're back. Do we make a motion to leave non-public?
I move that we leave non-public at 9:03 PM.
Second.
Okay, roll call. And Carrie?
Yeah.
Erica?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
And Debbie, yes. While we were in non-public, we spoke about legal issues and personnel issues. No votes were taken. Do we have any motions?
I move that we pay a stipend of $2,500 to Aaron Stanley for the additional tech work that he has had to pick up in our transition because we don't have a full-time IT director, so there's more falling on him than we anticipated.
Second. Okay, discussion? All right,
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
I second it, thanks.
okay. And yes, and he's doing a great job also going to help us with interviewing our next person and to replace him. So here we go. Carrie?
Yes.
And Erica?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
And Liz?
Yes.
And Debbie, yes. That is passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. All right, anybody else?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay.
At 9:05 PM, Amanda.
Okay, Carrie, Carrie, and
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Yes.
and Eric, and Liz, and Debbie, yes, we are adjourned, thank you.
I was
Thank you.
wrong last time.
Thank you. All right.
That was wrong.
As much as we like, sometimes they.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm excited, hopefully one of the new candidates will.
Yeah, I just feel like that.
Good night, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks.
You're the best. This man, he's so good.
Yes, give me a second.
Okay.
Yeah.